Welcome to Alpha Theta's Equal Beats podcast, where we share honest conversations with those behind the scenes and on stage who are reshaping our industry. Whether you're breaking into the business, building your career, or striving to create change, these conversations will help you understand how the industry really works and how you can move through it with confidence. Together, we'll imagine a more inclusive, empowered future in music, explore some of the big challenges we're all facing, and unearth solutions for them. I'm your host, Kikelomo, and before we get into it, let's give listeners a bit of context. Today, we're going to discuss how artists can establish a brand in the electronic music industry through PR, marketing, and social media. I'm pretty sure social media is every artist's biggest gripe right now, and I'm really excited to hear your solutions on how we can navigate this in a healthy way and use social media to our advantage. And today I'll be speaking to Giorgia Taglietti, a cultural strategist and consultant with over 30 years of experience in the industry. Giorgia has worked in just about every corner of the music industry, including as an artist manager for Laurent Garnier, cultural campaign manager for the Association for Electronic Music, and the director of the Spanish chapter of She Said So, a global independent community for women and gender non-conforming people in the music industry. Giorgia is the founder of ICNAC, aka the International Consulting Network for Arts and Culture, where she transforms companies and artists and institutions within the arts and culture ecosystem. Giorgia has built a career connecting people, ideas, and platforms through strategic consultancy, digital innovation, and brand development. And she's particularly passionate about supporting projects rooted in sustainability, inclusivity, and artistic integrity. A frequent speaker, mentor, and advisor, Giorgia champions purposeful cultural work through thoughtful storytelling, strategic positioning, and cultural insight. Today, we'll learn more about Giorgia's background and journey in the music industry, her unique perspective on the many different roles artists play, advice on how to build a brand in today's climate, and her vision for an equal future. Thank you so much for joining us, Giorgia.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Alpha Theta. Thank you, Kikelomo. It's a pleasure to be together.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Today.
A pleasure to have you. Let's start from the beginning. I would love to know more about your history and how you began working in such an expansive way all across the music industry, but specifically coming into the industry in the first place.
Well, I think that, first of all, in order to be able to start in the music industry back then, meaning 30 years ago, that was completely random, meaning that, there was no such thing as education or schools or places where you go and it's like, I work in the music industry and I want to work there. So I used to work at the time it's called assisting designing, because most of the people didn't have computers. So my dad invested in a Mac. Mm-hmm. And actually I did an interview for a journalist long time ago, which is say they am illegitimate daughter of Steve Jobs because I had a Mac before anybody else. And I was like trying in Barcelona to help designing packaging and designing catalogs. And so one day I was called up to design a catalog for a festival called Sonar. That was 95. It was the second year of the festival. I assisted the catalog design and then because by then I already spoke like 5 languages, they noticed that I really love music. And it was a love crisis that created this jump into music. And my boyfriend dumped me and we used to work together. And so I needed to work somewhere else. And Sonar opened the door to start working with them. So I think actually was a love crisis that became an amazing opportunity for me to work in the music industry, though I never thought I would end up that way.
Okay. And how did your career evolve through the music industry? So you started off in Sonar and then how did that evolve?
Well, the good thing about working in a festival that was starting or working in any music situation that is starting, and that's a valuable still now, is that you do everything.
Yeah.
It's like there's no such thing as the comm department and the marketing department and the booking department. So I did bookings for a long while for techno and for house. Mm-hmm. I did booking until I think the end of 99, 2000 or something like that, maybe a bit early. And of course, in that time, I met Maria May, and I met people that actually have been through the years in the same, let's say, environment in the music industry. And we were very few women. And after booking, I did, meanwhile I was doing booking, I was doing international PR for them. And then I started doing many other things. And the way there was no ladder as such back then, because everybody needed to do everything. So that's why I think still now I can, if you ask me to produce something, or if you ask me to be backstage, or if you ask me to do a stage manager, I'd be happy to do a stage manager for you.
We love people who are multi-talented, multifaceted, and multilingual as well.
And I actually have a lot of, when you do all these things, you know a lot about the backstage areas. And personally, it's one of my favorite people that actually are not so seen are the ones that produce and are in the backstage area, making sure that the shows happen, the events happen, and everything else is done.
And how did the connection with Laurent Garnier come about?
Exactly the same. I was starting with the festival back then, and I didn't know anything about electronic music. I come from a jazz background. I was a jazz collectionist, mainly 40s, 50s jazz, and which I still think there's a huge connection in between techno and jazz. So that's another thing that then I discovered. And the directors told me, if you want to work with us, you really need to see the scene and understand the scene. And they were confident that I could appreciate the music. And so they take me by hand and by force to listen to Laurent playing in a club. They were booking at the time, and I sit down instead of dancing for 2-3 hours or maybe more, because Laurent at the time was non-stopping, as now. And I just fell in love with him as a person. With him it's my best friend, one of my best friends, and with him as an artist and with his music.
Laurent is considered an absolute pioneer in house and techno, and he's been named one of the best artists of all time by Mixmag, and is credited for bringing house to France. And you've been his manager for a long, long time now. How has your experience been managing such a huge artist in this day compared to the early days?
The interesting thing is I call myself a manager because I do everything but booking. Mm-hmm. But the everything but booking in the life of Laurent is he manages himself. Mm-hmm. And I am there to kind of answer his questions about everything that is not related to booking. Mm-hmm. So my management perception of this is more than I am in the size of the business, in which we take decisions, even very important decision through the career since 10 years ago that we're now working together, that are not related to booking and clubs, which I think is fascinating, because I work with them because he's previous person of confidence. We actually work on trust people. So we don't give us names, except, Michael is for bookings, but it's just the three of us. So it's like, this is how he perceives the family. So we are a work family in this sense. And I perceive Laurent as somebody that needs to preserve his legacy, but also is somebody so forward thinking, so real to the present, that though he can fear the sense of tension between what he plays and the new generations, he always get it. Yeah. And the wonderful, wonderful thing about working with somebody with Laurent, like Laurent, is not only that he feels that everything is close to you or is very family oriented, is that he doesn't care about the power, and he doesn't care about the numbers. He cares about the authenticity. He cares about quality. He's such a perfectionist, and this is probably what takes more time. I actually think that my duty in the future is to make sure that everything that is Laurent is the way he wants to be, and protected and archived, and preserved for the influence that he has in the present and the future.
I'm curious because you mentioned that in terms of management, you do everything but the booking. Could you give me more specifics about what everything entails?
It's fun. It's like normally we received different things for him, which are since opportunities of peer interviews, collaborations, remixes. But normally it's not doing much. And now that he has finally got this great deal with the Radio France, FIP, which is the digital radio of the National France Radio. He's doing his show every first Saturday of the month. So we renewed this not long ago. He has been asked to be the judge for the Prix Joséphine, which is a national prize for music. I call this the folder of personal. It's called the personal image. So we have personal image demands. We have different demands of different size. Anything that comes into the box and anything that he calls and he say, we're doing this and or not, or we valuing to do is like how we organize the whole thing together. He also oversees contracts with me, like the fabric one. And now we're getting into, for instance, thinking about what's the future. We had some brands that come to us, opportunity of brands, not commercial brands per se, but like, as you can imagine, like tech brands or things like that. But also I protect, because I did so many clearances for Sonar, I protect the artist. And I need to tell you, but I protect the artist against any contract that say, for the times and for the or your life,
in perpetuity.
The perpetuity of the perpetuity, because first of all AI, and second of all because I think we are on the verge of changing the way we perceive personal image in the next future. So I don't think the contracts are adapting to that, and for this reason, some of the deals I'm very protective of them, and I see the future as something that I'm not scared. But I don't want to be having anything legally binding to the future of AI towards artists and personal images.
That's a really interesting perspective, actually. Good to think about. I mean, speaking of kind of press and personal image, you're one of the world's leading PR and communication professionals. In your opinion, what makes a good PR story for an artist?
Everything that is sensible to his audience, everything that is relevant to the zeitgeist, everything that it speaks to himself as much as the others. I do not believe in artists that make the art just for themselves. I think that if you want to be an artist, meaning that you want to expose the artist to other people, and you need to be, first of all, ready for reaction and action, and second of all, how this reaction can influence your art. And I think there is a big non-discussion happening on how everything that is happening right now in the world or even in the audience, I mean, the different generation perceptions are influencing the artist instead of just saying, I'm doing this record and you get it. But I love to feel that in this connected society, artists are the hypersensitive people that actually know what is also creating their art from. So we always forget that it's just not, we're just like, I do this record, but I love the contextualization on how this music or this painting or anything you do in life is influenced by everything around you. I call it also, as you can imagine, the cultural DNA. So you have a cultural DNA you can't deny that comes with yourself. But how far do you want to go with that, or how distant you want to be from there, and how what is going on around you or where you live is affecting you. And this is how you connect with the real collective that is your fan base. Not like just fake until you make it, but just like embracing the reality of your reality as an artist.
I mean, so an artist reacts to the world and then they create their art, they put out their art, and then the world reacts to the art. But you can't necessarily control that reaction. You can get positive reactions and you can get negative reactions. Can an artist recover from a negative reaction, or more specifically, negative press?
So there's there's a very great article, I think it was in the New Yorker or the New York Times 2 days ago, about music criticism and the death of music journalism.
Oh, I saw this, yeah.
Okay, well, we're talking about that.
Yeah.
We're also talking about that. It depends on which media, which negative reaction. So the only way to know and to leverage something negative that happens is how to use a crisis for your own sake, meaning was the negative reaction really, really true? And what's negative about it? So one thing is negative because they didn't like it just for aesthetic reason. You shouldn't care. Negative because you touch a very sensitive point for some people, but you know that the rest of the people are along you. So sometimes your own fans will protect you from this negative reaction. So this is something that also most of the people don't think. Fans, and also core fans, are your best social media managers. It's not you or somebody that pays, it's the fan. The fan will defend you for any reason that is not justified as a negative reaction. So that, for me, it's very important to understand in a kind of organic way to deal with your social media stuff. And then another thing is negative reaction towards ethical positions. So that's two ways to go, and you know that. One is, do you really want to be on social media and be very, very, very vocal? You will have that. And so if there's nobody that says that you can go idle and stop because the pressure is too much and revamp later with a different profile. So I always say it's like AI. AI exists, but if we take off the energy and the electricity, AI, it's finished.
Yeah.
So if you think there is an online scandal, actually when you see a lot of scandals, you know that most of the things that happen is because it's been reprised on social media. If it doesn't go to the media, meaning that it's still niche. But then if you go to the media, then it becomes mainstream. So there is different levels of negative reaction. There's different level of crisis. And for me, the most important thing is to be, first of all, reading a lot the people. You can't just listen to one voice. You can listen to multiple voices, reading a lot before taking any decision. Listening, I always said, is not about who you write, who you talk to. It's about what you listen and how you formulate this listening about. And then if you're really overwhelmed, I would totally say either you apologize because you think you need to apologize, either you just go MIA for a while and think about what you've done. Because it's very difficult to be confronting a lot of people. We've seen a lot of crises in brands and stuff, but I think for an artist, it's about the ethical interior position that they have.
What would you say are the key pillars an artist needs in order to have a successful career in music?
For me, to have always an external person beside that artist, artists have a really big problem with loneliness.
Yeah.
And the loneliness normally creates either hyper self-ego, which is not good, either lots of problems with per se or insecurity, even the biggest ones. So I think that it's very important that somebody is beside them. That could be their friend, their manager, their social media person. I think, and I always said to every person that I mentor, is like, are you sure that around you there's not somebody young or that wants to learn, or even your dad that really wants a second career? And actually, when you see most successful artists right now, they all have their families in one way or the other. It's like they can be their legal tutor, they can be contract, they can be management, they can be the art directors, but they trust their families. And this is how it works. And even if you have the big managers of the world, which we all know, the final decision that happens, it will be taken by the artist and its most, tight friend circle. So I think this is super important. I think this is basic. So once you have somebody that you trust near you that can actually, you see things green and you're convinced about the green. Let's think about Charlie and the Brat, and you think, no, I want it red, and somebody say, I think the green will work. You have somebody that sees or read beside what you see, because you're the artist. You're the one closed in the studio. You're the one that can't be connected to everything. And you need another pair of eyes and another pair of ears to be safe and sound. I think that's very important. And another thing is to be legally aware. It's like there's no such thing right now of being an artist and say, oh, my lawyer is taking care of it. Or, oh, I don't know what, a publicist does. I don't know what, publishing does. Or there's no such thing about that. There's schools right now. There are people that can help you. But I can't admit artists that I'm like, oh, I don't do that. And it's like, well, it's your career. It's like, this is the way you do. And actually the best, most famous artists, even before internet, they are the ones that actually have recovered their contracts, know the legal sides, and towards AI and what we have discussed, the legal side would be more and more important.
Yeah. You mentioned AI. I'm curious, what are some of the big changes that you're seeing in the music industry right now?
Well, I think AI and the technology industry in revolution, technological revolution is like the industrial revolution in the beginning of the 20th century. So if you see movies of that time, you see that everybody was scared about electricity, everybody was scared about, machines, everybody was scared about industry as such. And I think we are in the same time. We are into 24. Imagine 1924. So now we are 2024 and the biggest, or 25, and we are the biggest scare is AI and is technology and is social media and is the digital. But how much of the humans we have powers about this? And I believe in human beings. I believe in our non-artificial intelligence. And I believe in I'm a very positive person towards technology, even though we have many factors that we could feel powerless. But I think we should use technology as usual.
Yeah.
It's like when we started working in electronic music, everybody hated electronic music. I remember classical people just hating it. Just saying, this is no music, I will never be. And now I know a lot of classical people working with electronic music and being proud about it. So let's embrace it. But in a good way. And that means the legal boundaries of it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like ultimately it always just comes down to connection, right? Is this technology enabling us to connect with others? Is it facilitating connection or is it eroding connection? Even what you were saying in terms of the pillars that artists need to build, that team around them, the support system, that extra pair of eyes, the fan base, it's all about connection. And so I feel like the way that music kind of facilitates connection is that technology can either enhance or, erode that. So I think that's
and with the Association of Electronic Music, we just released like this summer the AI principles in order to guide musicians around this and to guide anybody actually in the music business around this. But I think this is an open discussion in which we need to be close to the people that actually are working with AI. This is the difficult stuff. And I always talk about Europe and even England and UK in general because, we don't have that technological know-how that the Americans have or the Chinese have, by the way. And this means that we are a bit more ignorant than they are. So we know less about what they're developing than we do. And so that's an interesting challenge for the future is that, and I always speak about it, is Europe is very good at legislations, but is not that good about developing the AI and the technology. So it's like, yes, you can create laws, but you also need to know what's next.
Yeah. You came up at a time in the industry where there were barely any women working behind the scenes. And we're starting to see some changes now, but, we've still got a long way to go. I'm curious, in what ways do you consciously uplift women through your work in music?
Well, right now, I'm in the peak of this goal because I left my job and then I've been freelancing since 2021. I've been freelancing for 3 years. And then one day I was illuminated about the name ICNAC. So the International Consulting Network for the Arts and Culture has a specific meaning because I know that because I've been in communication so long, every single word has a meaning. And this has a meaning. International, because I don't have boundaries. And it's a network, because it's not a company, it's a firm. So I can actually get people to work for me, but they work for their own clients, always within culture, arts and culture. So that's the meaning of ICNAC. It must be a flexible structure. And also I wanted to show myself and show the women that I love that a woman can be a CEO, a founder, also in something so non-specific like a consulting company. And now it's a year and 9 months. And we have an office, which I'm very proud of. My first office,
Congrats.
Actually my second office, because I moved after 2 months in a different room. But it's like, and I have somebody on salary that I love. Shout out to Hannah. And a person on intern that will probably be on salary very soon, Emil. And they understand the function, and they have their own clients, and we are going well. I don't want to be working within a big functioning of big money. I know that I want a tiny boutique place in which I can have, actually, I hope to get some intern on January. And so we can shape interns into become professionals with their own clients with my guidance directly.
Are there any women in the industry who have inspired you on your journey in music that you would love to shout out as well?
Marianne Obbs.
Yeah.
Forever.
Giotti,
because I was with her in the beginning, but now I'm so proud. Can't be more proud. I just love her. And I follow her like hardcore. The Blessed Madonna, it's my friend, but she inspires me every day and actually makes me cry to think about her all the time. It's like so emotional, my friendship with her. And then I think Björk was a big inspiration back in the beginning when, we had her twice, and I didn't met her like personally, but I was with her in a press conference, and everything she said then in 2003, I think, still resonates now. Actually, the interview with Zane Lowe for me this year was still very, very inspiring as a woman. And a woman of our age also, because I can relate to my age and her age. And there's many women that have inspired me through that mainly, have done radio, have producing it, have done a lot of things. There is now a producer that comes from my tiny town it's not tiny, but my town in Italy, which is Marta Salogni, which is a big producer. She's a young woman. And when I see her achieving that as a woman producer, like, this is my joy, coming from completely different backgrounds and see them working and thriving. Hannah Shibola, which I guess you know, but it's like a very good friend of mine. Tough woman, lovely one. And I don't know, I'm just happy to be just friends or near them.
Yeah, you're surrounded by a community,
Yeah.
Do you feel like a part of your role in this industry is to help open doors for other women coming up in the scene?
Always.
Yeah.
Any opportunity, anytime. Actually, it's like, somebody wants you to mentor, and they say, and I'm sorry, man, but it's like, it's a boy. And it's like, I would rather have a woman.
Why?
Because we need to become the majority. I mean, we need to raise up, and we need to give power. And the problem is that up there, there's still not enough women.
Yeah.
So it's like you just grab the opportunity to give all your knowledge. If I could transfer stuff by a chip, I would do it.
Yeah.
I would just give my chip to all the women in the industry.
Okay, this might seem like a bit of an obvious question, but why should artists take branding as seriously as they take their music?
Wow. Because your artistry and your ID goes together. So more than branding is like the IP, It's like IP is probably the biggest discussion right now. So we haven't dwelled into that, but it comes naturally thinking about artificial intelligence. And that's why you should consider it very, very, very seriously.
And with IP, you mean intellectual property?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the intellectual property, which Disney says, Marvel, for you is what you do and what you are as an individual. And it's more than branding, like giving you a brand and building a brand, which could be like, I think it's more like building the ID and the IP of what you are, because that's your distinctive scenario. And because we're talking that nobody cares about just listening. Everybody wants to see also. So there is a 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional space about music that before was not needed. And I think it's important because people want to see you as much as they was listening to you, but not to see you aesthetically, but just what kind of look, what kind of image, what kind of real person you are. And that's why I think the reality of live shows is so important, because they want to see you live. They want to see you on YouTube. But I was at festival to see Central C with a little boy that is 10. I love Central C, by the way. And this boy is 10. And he was looking at Central C, first big concert in his life, looking at Central C. And one thing he said is like, oh my God, he's alive. Like he saw so many YouTube videos of him. It's like, he's there. He's like, he's a person. So I think that the way you are and the way you physically are also communicate about you. And sometimes I tell Laurent that also. It's like, Laurent sometimes is like, oh, I don't want to do a video of me. It's like, but people love to see you because you're so authentic. You're like real. And then he doesn't like to do it. And then he does. He really enjoys it. And then he double enjoys the way fan connects with his physicality and with his voice and with his person. So it's like, I hate to say that, but it's like, artistry right now, it's always about 360 degree.
Yeah.
And it's about your IP, your ID, yourself, and your art together.
I mean, let's talk about that, because every artist that I know seems to struggle with social media at the moment. And there's always this conversation that almost feels like you have to trade off between your integrity versus, the need for feeding an algorithm and getting those clicks and those views, How can we use social media to our advantage to enhance our artistry?
So I'm a big follower of this guy that does Trackstar. I don't know if you follow him. I think there's a lot of social media journalism in a way that is really interested and was born and raised in social media. There is a friend of mine that is a theorist on digital media, and he said something that is true, that is like, social media is not social anymore. It's just media. So thinking about that as media is like talking to an artist 20 years ago and say you don't want to do an interview with journalists. And, I would say to that artist, oh, you don't want to do an interview with media. I was like, what this will take you to not having success. So in a way, some laziness and some a reaction against promoting yourself was there already 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You used to sit down for 3 hours or 4 to do physical interviews. I did that with many artists of mine. And, now it's just a quick video of 10 minutes and then you will have. So let's not think that this is just a situation of now. And second of all, half of the artists that say that to me, and at ECNAC, we take care of artists' social media. They're lazy. Sorry to say. They're like, oh, I can't bother for social media. It's too difficult. It's too whatever. Some of the artists, they're really not good at that. And so I always said, do you have a cousin? Or do you have a family? Or do you have somebody that loves that? And for sure you have somebody that can actually help you without not too much expenses, but can help you be more at time, like more present in your social media. And then which social media? Are you a young person that wants to be on TikTok? Are you somebody like Laurent? Laurent doesn't make sense on TikTok. Which social media or media you want to be in? Do you want to write? I don't know if you read the Substack written by the Blessed Madonna. She's amazing on writing. It's like, what is your skill that you would like to use? Or do you want to foster a community in which you're being interviewed by somebody? And I always say to my clients on social media, it's like, do you know that just with us, we can create an interview with you? I'm a journalist at heart. I've done 5 years of journalism and advertising. It's like, we can just prepare something for you on LinkedIn Live if you want, if it's a B2B scenario. So it's not that difficult to be a media of yourself if you work well with the right community and you enhance this through the words and the image.
Is there any advice you would give to artists to navigate social media in a healthy way and use it to their advantage without going crazy?
Be true to yourself. If a person becomes a hater, there's two ways. We already said the non-usual one is ethical, that you did something that, touch something very sensitive about people. That's a different story. But haters are everywhere. So, myself, I just put the censorship words. I just censor things. You can censor audience not to write this on your social media because people say whatever they want. And, there is positive criticism. You can block people. You can, and I definitely block people. And it's nothing bad about it. It's like if somebody enters your shop and say, I hate everything here. You just say to them, go out and find another shop to be. And you said, don't get in anymore. Just don't need you here. So there's nothing bad about filtering your social media. And actually, I'm not about quantity, about quality. And the quantity you reach through collective, not through individual. Mm-hmm. So I want to jump into be very big now. That you reach through collabs, as you know, reels interviews, collaborations with media online, on socials, or just singing along with something. You have multiple ways to go up the ladder, but without paying for followers, for God's sake.
So a big part of your work is mentoring artists. How do you go about empowering them in the industry, or maybe more specifically, what tools do you use to help them achieve their goals?
Well, I think by the time I reach my 14,000 LinkedIn contacts, one of the biggest thing or resource that I can offer in the case of thinking about next mentors or mentors that can help them in specific things. So one thing is that you can't really mentor about everything. And depending on the music genre or what kind of issues or obstacles they have. I also lead a mentoring program myself for an artistic residency in Barcelona, and I find the mentors, but I am the main organizer. And I think it's very interesting to analyze each artist and then finding the right person. So the right person for each artist, depending on the needs, is somebody that is more skilled on communication, somebody that is really skilled on legal, somebody that is really skilled on contacts, because I mentor artists not only from the music business. So it can be, I need more knowledge into staging, or so the more I mentor, the more I open the artistic genre in which I take care of. And it gives you also the perspective on how the arts and culture in general, and not only the music. So what also happens with Laurent or with my mentoring is that the more you do, the more you open up to different genres, the more I work with people that confront me for different proposals that are not linked only to music, the more you have experience also in other, and you know what is good and bad, even in, dance or theater or plastic painting, and there is a connection there. There's a huge connection. As you know, there is now dance is a big part of the staging of a show, or lighting, or immersive, or choreography, or art direction. So all the artists might need something specific. So there is no one way to mentor one person. There's no one fit for all kind of mentorship. There is one way that needs to fit better the potential of the artist. Maybe the artist is potentially amazing on live. Mm-hmm. So you need to increase somebody that really works with him or with her, on a stage, on a place, on the experience of spatial, on the costs, on the budgets, and there is so many ways to be a mentor. Mm-hmm. But one thing that is important is to have enough contacts to delegate the right mentorship and the right path. Mm-hmm. Mentorship is normally meant to last 4 months, 5 months. If a mentor is for 2 years, you're managing or you're coaching. It's a different story. You need to kind of give them the path, and then people that can follow up the path, and then occasionally mentor them if there is a specific question or, an obstacle.
And in this journey where you've mentored so many artists across loads of different genres or themes, are there any key themes that you see coming up again and again, specifically where artists need help, and maybe even more specifically for women and other marginalized people?
One thing that I always said, and actually I want to use the word marginalized, because I posted a thing that is still in my feed on Instagram, is that as women, we are majority in this world. So we are really not a minority, for instance. We are the majority of people, humans. And I would say that I always say women plus, including the LGBTQ plus community. I would use the intersectional optics, because I include all the people outside the standard white man, cis person. Okay? So everything else that he stays is my word, is the word I represent, is the word, even if I'm that way, I think I represent the intersectional. I want to stand for the intersectional. And for this reason, I think they have problems and issues that are specific for them. They're racial, they're also machismo. There is this sense of lack of self-confidence. But there's one thing that is not, and is loneliness. Right now, there's many communities working together. She Said So, and You with Equal Bits. And there is almost no way that you can find a community working within your community. And I think this is a reality for us. And this is why I think there is a part of the world that feels scared about how communal the work of us is. We have a lot of women association. We have a women collection. And the first and biggest thing that I ever experienced in my life was the Women's March. And for me, the Women's March was the symbol of unity, was the symbol of us, was a symbol of what we can do together. And I do think that I do always say that women and all the other communities and marginalized communities, they have their place. They can find their place, and they need to stick to their people because they are there. They're there. And, being part of it is sometimes I feel like I have a young woman coming to me saying, what shall I do? I feel very lonely. It's like, sign up. Sign up. I can send you a list of things you can sign up, locally, non-locally, internationally, and everywhere else. And there are champions of each community that we all know, I guess. On the other side of it, in artists in general, what I think it's the money issue. And I don't have money to sustain myself, and how I sustain myself. And that's a problem. And this is why I investigate a lot about public funding. I'm actually creating a non-profit platform together with a friend of mine for project designers and grant writers in order to understand what they do and how can they help artists everywhere in Europe. Because what if an artist has this issue and there's no more public funding for them to showcase in festivals, to be touring? Lately, I was in a conference in the Basque Country, and the Basque government, which is so incredible, I still emotional about it. During COVID, they formalized a law in which you get the funding for touring outside the Basque Country as a Basque artist immediately.
Wow.
The day after you comply with all the requisites that they're asking for. This is not heard of. And I was like, this is the way it should be. It's like, you have some requisites, you fill in, you say, I have a band, I have this, I've done that. I've been invited to Reeperbahn, and can you pay me for Reeperbahn? And this is the way it goes.
Fantastic. We need more of that, more support in terms of financial flexibility to provide people with opportunities
there
to do
is,
their thing.
Music moves Europe. The problem with Brexit is huge because of that, and we need to say it. And I am working within Reset, which is a network of independent cultural structures in Europe from Lyon. We are 136 independent structures right now, and they have been the people, the Artifati people that kickstarted the funding with the Creative Europe. They're the people that made me starting to understand how European funding works, how public funding works, and I think we never speak enough about that.
Absolutely. Now I want to ask you some quick fire questions just to get some more insight into your outlook and process. First up, what advice would you have for women that are just getting started in the industry?
To find women alike, to sign up for a platform, whatever platform is. It can be Saffron, it can be Equal, it can be She Said So, it can be Women in Production. I discovered 2 years ago during ISDE, which is a big conference about tech stuff, technical structures in shows, I discovered there's a huge women network of backstage production people. So find your place, and there's a lot of webinars that are for free. There's a lot of people that can lead. And then, one of the reasons I love LinkedIn in the first place, now it's a bit more questionable, is the 6 degrees of separation. It was built on the 6 degrees of separation, which means that all of us in the world, we are 6 degrees of separation from the other. So I think that you always need to find your first connections, second connections. They can help you get somewhere. And not, I don't understand the word lazy. This is something you need to fight for. Mm-hmm. And you can't sit down and try to be focused on finding the right contacts and the right nets, because these are the people that will save your life, will make your life easier, and will actually help you achieve your goals.
Speaking of goals, what is your definition of success? How do you define success?
To tell you the truth, right now I feel very successful towards my goals, because I wanted to be relevant for the people I love and to be perceived as somebody that is open for collaboration, and to be perceived as somebody reachable for the people that need help to grow. And it might be, as some people might say, it's because I don't have kids, but I have a lot of time for people, and all the time that I have extra, I give it to them, whoever they are.
It's funny because your definition of success is rooted in connection as well. Rooted in community, which I think is really powerful. Is there a life motto that you live by, that kind of guides you in the decisions and the steps that you take throughout? Maybe not even just your career, but your personal life as well.
Yeah. Well, I have many, actually. I change every year. It depends on the year. Past year was Zeitgeist, because I thought that I needed to be connected to what happened in the real present. And this year, I'm a kind of person that adapts to the situations. And I think I can't have one life motto. It depends on where I am and what makes sense to me. So this year there is no one truth. There are many perspectives.
Why would you say that's your life motto?
Because you need to understand the perspectives. Well, first of all, because they are trying to sell us a truth. And we know that we need to dig deeper to know this. So there is no one truth, but many perspectives. Gives you a lot of depth in the way you also can be opinionated about things and can filter the reality.
So you do so much. You run your own your own firm and community.
Thank you.
You are a part of She Said So. You are a freelancer. You're a manager. What motivates you to keep going every day?
My team. We start the day with a smile. We hug. We want to know how we feel, what we've done the day before, how is the money going. And so it makes it on a very human level. My husband, because he loves me always, which is amazing. I have a friend, very close friend, that takes the day with a smile, whatever it takes, whatever it happens. And he used me, he kind of something that I interiorize, that it makes me more productive to kind of start with a positive way, even with everything happening in the world, and then getting real and getting, I have this journalistic anxiety, of course, that comes within the fact that you're curious and I read a lot. But I think what makes me happy is that you need to think that people around you, close to you, are happy, because you can't make the world happy. Not right now, it is.
I mean, you've done also so much across so many different disciplines and work with so many amazing people. If you had to pick one thing to be the highlight of your career so far, what would it be?
Wow. One, it's difficult. I would answer like all the actors and all the big celebrities does. It's like, one, it's impossible. But I would think meeting people I adored when I was young was a big thing for me. I mean, for me, even if I work in the music business, I'm totally for myths. I go for the autographs. I go for the I love your music. I go like, oh my God, it's you. I have autographs from my jazz favorite musicians. So that for me in that time was the biggest highlight of my life. Like things that happen in my life that has been amazing. But knowing artists very close to me and staying backstage with them and hugging them and be a friend, and also sharing with them personal stories both ways, this is the moment I feel most fortunate, because I'm not an artist and I will never be an artist, but to be around artists in a good way, it's very enriching. Yeah. It gives you different energies. So I don't know. I always mention this, but the day I translated live Björk, the day I became very good friend with Adam from Depeche Mode, the day I met the Beastie Boys and we became very close, the day I met the De La Souls, and I don't know, it's like it's so endless the moments you guys stare at them. And then the day Marianne and I met with my ex-boss and we decided to do the stage on drum and bass, and 2007, the day I worked with Radio 1, the technical producer, which I loved, Andre Rogers forever. I have many moments of my life and it was like, I can't believe it's me that is talking to these people, that we are creating culture together. And I think this has been the moments of my life.
Fantastic. And many more to come. Many more to come.
Always. Every day. Meeting
day.
You, it's a privilege.
Oh, the privilege is all mine. You're making me blush.
Always a privilege.
Always a pleasure. I mean, looking into the current scene and, so many amazing people doing amazing things at the moment. Are there any artists, specifically female or gender non-conforming artists, that you're loving right now?
In different genres, yes.
Yes.
I think it's an amazing time to be a woman singer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Star of Stars, Doechi.
Oh, she's so good. Have you seen her perform live?
Well, on YouTube, of course.
You have to get to a live concert, a rock
I know,
star.
but, it's like, I'll probably cry. But Lola Young, I think she's amazing. I mean, I've seen her interviews, I've seen her on stage, I've seen her power. Just love it. I think it's a very specific Aurora, because she also I love her music, but I also love how engaged she is and what she represents. There is this new girl, I mean, at least for me, which is called Lofi, which is Icelandic, but she does this kind of bossa nova, lovely tunes, and she didn't sign for any label, because she knew that what she was doing was so out of time, so not poppy, that nobody would sign her. So she did everything by herself. And then once she had her record and everything together, she pulled it out for the label to sign, so she didn't have to change anything. And I actually love her record. I think I come from that kind of bossa nova style, Jorge Gilberto, Brazilian music, and she grabs all this, and why not? It's like soft and beautiful and optimistic in a moment of doom. And who else I love? I'm a big Billie Eilish fan. I think she's an amazing role model for girls. It's not about her music. It's about her in general. I think she's somebody that transcend the typical beauty schemes and obligations and power. And I love Arca for what she represents. And because I love Sophie, and Sophie's not anymore with
Rest in
us.
peace.
But it's like we need these representations along the line. And Arca is it's been an amazing story to tell still now, a live story to tell. So there's many people I respect and I love that represent what for me the actual scene is and should be in the variety of stories. And as I say, as a DJ, the career of Giotti is just unbelievable. And big love to her always.
Shout out to Jyoti.
Yes.
What do you know now that you'd wish you'd known when you started out working in the music industry?
That to be angry and rebel is good. That to say no is good. And that you look like a tough, I can't swear, so I can't say anything. No, beep, not beep woman, but it's like at the time, all of us, we were considering women that were angry and aggressive because we were taken from the main and we are behaving like one, actually behaving like one. And at the time I was there, it was so competitive and so harsh, especially bookings and especially techno, because there were a few women and many men. And it was a hardcore job, I would say, and actually burn out after a while. But I think that to be tough was good. But one thing that I also know now, but it was impossible back then, was to hand out the peace sign to a woman. We didn't have that. We didn't have that sorority. We didn't have that possibility. And that's why I always shout out to Andrea Magdalena, because for me it was the before and after that I discover my power in terms of women in the business. I discovered the other women, and we started talking to each other. And actually, my best friends in the business, Alba, which is the manager of Bad Guile, or many, many other people, Lorraine, they're all my friends because I started doing the She Said So Barcelona group, and they all came to my gatherings, and we all became best friends. And we don't feel alone. We always chat, and I still have them chatting to me like, what would you do? Or do we have this problem? And it's amazing how this strength, this power gives you to, and actually is why I was able to resign, because you think that you have a net and this net will be helpful to rebuild yourself.
Amazing. And my final question to close, what does equality look like for you?
Wow. It's a very tricky one. Again, I go back to my Fifth Amendment, which is there is no one truth. There's many perspectives as much as equality is concerned. I do think that I'm a privileged person, so my view will be my cultural DNA will be biased by equality. So my view of equality, it's a hopeful one, but probably not a real one. So as I see, is my intersectional view. It's like social, racial, and gender equality is the only way to go. And it's not one. There's no one equality. There's equality for all. But it's so stamped by the way we've been raised, and it's so stamped by the way we've been talking to each other, shaping our knowledge, that even now, that, as you know, right now, since, let's say, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, we are shaping a new dictionary. We are shaping a new language. We are shaping new history. And, we need to erase some behavior that we have learned for so many years. The history I learned total fake. So I need to reprogram myself, especially me, which I'm 60. I have done, and I'm still doing, a lot of reprogramming of my brain about being really true to what equality means for me.
And what would that world look like?
Matriarchat. It's the time of reinverse the situation. And I think that it doesn't mean that women, we are perfect at all. I actually love that we feel that we are complex people. But because we come, and this comes as our genetics, as motherhood, we are connective people. So connection comes within us. I rarely meet women that despise connection. And I think that also I would love to feel more warmth. And that's why I have forced even Japanese people to hug me, which is very scary for them. You need to see a Japanese people trying to hug you. It's like, sorry. And you're like, there's more physical contact in between us. And I think it's less scary. And my husband says to me, I envy you because you have a collective you always rely on that most men we don't, especially at our age, which is 60 years old.
Yeah. Fantastic. Georgia, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be interviewed by you. I would love to interview you next time. Yeah! And I want to thank again Alpha Theta and the girls of Alpha Theta because they're amazing, Keely and Isabel, and everyone in the room, because it's been an amazing experience.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just say that, your story is a powerful reminder of how creativity, authenticity, and connection can open doors, not just in the music industry, but beyond. So we're going to take that on board.
And I would love to stop this by saying, read and listen every day.
Yeah.
It's the best way to learn.
Amazing. It's such an exciting time to be in music at the moment. There are plenty of challenges, but there's also tons of opportunities to find solutions and create something new and inspiring. We hope this conversation motivates artists everywhere to own their voice, embrace their unique perspective, and step into their potential. This has been Equal Beats with Alpha Theta, and I'm Kikelomo. Once again, my deepest thanks to our guest today, Georgia Taglietti, for such an inspiring and thought-provoking discussion. Keep creating, connecting, and believing in your power. Until next time.